wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
You're listening to Joco Community Radio.
Hello, Jobfather Nation. Welcome to the show today. We are going to be missing the Jobfather as he had a critical networking event, but is listening. In the meantime, we have Meg Rose Caterio joining us on the show. With that being said, we are proud to be part of Joco Radio. Joco Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and is live on the TuneIn Radio Network. To listen or watch, simply go to jococommunityradio.com and learn how to listen now and free. The app for Joco Community Radio is available on both iOS and Android devices. Just simply download and choose how you would like to listen. We are excited and have a jam-packed show today, but before we get into the introduction of our first guest, let's bow our head for a quick word of prayer. Father God, we are so honored to be here today. And we are honored to help job seekers. With that, we just ask that you would open up doors of opportunity, bless those that are in the job search, lead, guide, and direct them, that you would get all the glory. Help us to honor you and help those that are listening. Thank you for the guests that are volunteering their time. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
With that being said, we are excited to be here. Mez is going to be jumping in. So Foster and I will be returning, I believe, next week. Mez, we are so excited to have you, and we are honored to have you on this show. With that being said, Mez is going to introduce our first guest today.
Absolutely.
But I do have a couple quick announcements. Real quick, Mez, and we're going to have you introduce our first guest and get us started. So just so you know, Foster is still working on a number of job searches. Now, while I don't have all the details, he has a couple open positions that he is working on here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. That is exciting, okay? Please reach out to Foster Williams at his LinkedIn address, or pretty much everybody has this, Foster Williams at sbcglobal.net. Reach out to him if you're in the market and find out what roles he is working on. I wanted to let you know that a couple companies here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex are hiring. Caris Life Sciences, Galderma, and Beacon Oral Specialists. All have job opportunities throughout the U.S. and here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Go to their websites, check out their lineup. I am excited to share and have been waiting. It has been 4 long months, but I just accepted an offer last Friday. So I want to thank the Jobfather, Mez, Foster, and all of those in the network that have prayed for me, that have reached out to me. It was probably one of the most challenging 4 months in my life. It was full of ups and downs, and Mez and I intend to share and dig into that throughout, our shows as we're moving forward, and even today, to share the reality, right, of going through the job search. But I start next week. Any prayers would, not next week, the 14th of August. Any prayers would be appreciated. I am actually planning to join Beacon Oral Specialists as their director of talent acquisition. And that organization is growing over 800%. So there's going to be a lot of jobs. Please stay tuned to their website. Now, with that being said, Mez, we're excited to hear about our guests. Share.
Oh my goodness. But first, congratulations. That's awesome news. That really is. Thank you for sharing. We always want to, so everybody out there that's a part of our network and you do land, we want to hear these landing stories. Hell, I had posters at my landing story. I made a scene.
Yes.
At South Lake Focus Group. I wish somebody recorded it because I had a speech. I had 2 posters. Oh, I was like pumped. But yes, we want to hear your landing stories. Please don't ghost us. We are so happy to have you a part of the community, even if you're employed. And God forbid you get into the same situation. Keep those contacts. But that being said, my dear friend Mike Chapman over here, right underneath me on the screen, he and I have known each other for years. Great man. And he is here to talk about the insurance changes. Unfortunately, when we get laid off, we have a COBRA option. Sometimes we don't. But he's an expert in this field. He's been doing it for years. And he is bad to the bone. Like, he will make sure you know what's up to date, what the best options are. And we're just very blessed to have him a part of this community, and he is here to help. But Mike, go ahead. Stage is yours.
Oh, Mike, we can't hear you, my friend.
We can't hear you.
And real quick, while Mike is working on the speaker, Mez, thank you for that. I really respect what you just said. And everybody, Mez is a huge part of our show. Some weeks we're blessed to have her on screen, but she is our project manager and our overall manager. Since Mez has come on board to support us, our show has really taken a positive direction. So Mez, we thank you for that and your wisdom and your ability to keep us on track. She's a phenomenal project manager and whip cracker, just so you know. And while Mike works on his speaker real quick, and Mike, feel free to just talk so we know if it's working or not. Nope, can't hear you yet.
Not yet.
It's okay. While he does that, I want to say something that really resonates that Mez said. Mez is correct. You know, it's a hard road to hoe when you're laid off or in between jobs. The market right now is different than it's been in the past. If you would agree, right, Mez? It's just very different.
This is different. This is a new animal.
It's a new animal, meaning there's so many more people in the market right now. It's not always going to be that way. But what that means, basic economic principles, I'm sure Mez knows what I'm going to say, supply and demand.
Correct.
More people on the market, wages go down, recruiters can be more picky. So it's really important to surround yourself with a great community, like the communities Foster and his team of individuals have built throughout the Metroplex, Frisco Connect, South Lake Focus Group. I mean, there are so many groups. There's project management in South Lake. There's groups in IT in South Lake and healthcare in South Lake. There's groups in Fort Worth, all over the Metroplex.
All over the country. All over the country.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, all over the country.
Yes, like you know what I found out, Mez? Transition Masters is amazing. I don't know if you've done that or looked at it.
Transition Masters are in Georgia, right?
Yes.
Atlanta. Yeah, I love them. Amazing group.
Yep, it is. And Joe, he's based out of Tampa, and the people that are part of the group, like Mez said, are all over the U.S. So this isn't just specific to Dallas.
No.
And we meet every Monday, and it's free. And they help you with career coaching, job interviewing, resumes. It's phenomenal, and it's free, and executives help run it. So you're getting feedback from executives. So I recommend career
DFW
transition.
Career,
right?
Which one? Career DFW or English? Wonderful language. Is
no,
it Career DFW?
Transitionmasters.org. That's it. Sorry.
That's it.
Yes. And then there's also Career DFW. And then Mez, if someone also wants to get on the interviewing, you just mentioned it that you've done.
Yeah.
What is it called again?
The Pit Crew. And if you go to FriscoConnect.org. I'm putting it in the chat right now in the YouTube chat. So FriscoConnect.org.
Okay.
And
Love
the
it.
resources page. You will find all this. Right. Resources page. You will find all the groups and information. Mostly it's on careerdfw.org. Amazing site there. Helped me through. I was laid off for 7 months back in 2019. So I've gone through these groups. It worked. I've also gone through a career transition, just for everybody's transparency. The people that don't know my story, just in a nutshell, I was in the oil and gas industry fresh out of college and with the same company for 10 years. So when I got laid off, I was devastated and I had to do a career change because the volatility, no pun intended, of the oil and gas industry. So I went re-overeducated myself again, and I did it all through this network. I couldn't have done it through anything else. I would have, it would have been a hot mess. So I didn't find this network. So it does work. The programs work. The networking works. And they haven't been able to get rid of me. So now I am an IT project manager in the risk management industry. And I'm so blessed to see how God's handiwork weaves everybody's lives together as job seekers. So don't give up hope. You will get a job. You don't want just a job. You want to make sure that you are thriving. And God wants nothing less for any of us.
Exactly.
God wants nothing less but for us to thrive. So hang in there.
You couldn't have said that better.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
That's God working through me. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. Mike, how we doing over there?
I think he's still working. Mike?
He's still working.
Yeah. I also wanted to mention, and I'm really excited that Mez spoke about that. I give God all the glory for my landing. One thing as believers we have is what door that we're meant to go through, no man can close. And it doesn't matter if there's 3 applicants or 1,000 applicants. Correct. And y'all, there were jobs I applied to with 1,000 applicants. Wow. Now, I will say, I don't know if y'all remember Laura Smith. Yeah. She came on the show about 4 months ago. She was awesome. She is a chief HR officer. I networked with her and was really grateful to get in the interview process. Now, I still had to interview her in the job, and by God's grace, the door opened for me. But I want to encourage you, and I know Foster would want Mez and I to bring this up, that it is so important to keep networking. Yes. It is so important to reach out to people on LinkedIn. It is so important to utilize numerous job sites, and LinkedIn's probably your number one, Indeed number 2, but depending on what your type of role you're looking for, don't forget about ZipRecruiter, Career Builder, Monster, Talent.
Professional groups, people. You have to get with people that are actually employed as well. It is great to network with job seekers, but professional groups, volunteer work, Salvation Army, especially now that the year, I cannot believe it's, Dana, can you believe it's already August?
No, I don't even know where this year went.
I know, it's crazy. But we're approaching the holiday season, everybody. How many church organizations, not even church organizations, but we have my brother from another mother, Jason Hopper, with us, and he is an amazing resource as well. He is a part of the Jewish Family Services. So it's Jewish, no, I can speak English.
JEWEIS.
There we go. No, but it's Jewish, JFS/Dallas.org. Wow, English, wonderful language. But reach out to him.
Please reach out to him. And I want to tell everybody about a couple sites I didn't know about before my career search. If you go to Lensa, LENSA.com, they are great. They're like an aggregate, and they scrape the internet and let you know what jobs have just been posted in all of these different sites for free and notify you via email. Okay. That's Lensa, LENSA.com, I'm sorry. And then hold on, there was a couple of them that I'm like, oh, I didn't know about these, and I shared them. Talent.com. Talent.com. Go to talent.com. You will find more opportunities to find out about job opportunities. Give me a second. I'm scrolling through. These have helped me during this time. I'm not going to lie.
I've never heard of these. This is great, Dana. Thank you.
I know. I
never heard of them.
I went
and we do this for a living.
Yeah, they help keep me in the loop of new jobs that are getting posted. I would check every day. I'd go to LinkedIn. And then after I'd go to LinkedIn and I'd hit the little suitcase icon to look at any new jobs that popped up according to my search standards. Then I'd go to my I'd go to my Gmail and next, NEXXT X's. That was awesome. Okay. They constantly message me with new job alerts.
Is it .com or is it .com?
I don't know. If you Google NEXXT, you'll see it. I'm going to guess it's .com.
Make sure you don't put too many X's, people. We don't want that kind of Google search happening.
Yeah, let's just be honest. And this is another good one. Job Rapido. It's all one word. Job Rapid with an O at the end. All one word. That sent me a lot of alerts and really kept me in the loop. And so I want to share some of these because this is very important for listeners to expand what they're looking for. And then there's called postjobfree.com. A lot of companies will go to postjobfree.com and post, and then they send the people that are looking for jobs notifications. Yes. And last but not least, there's Talentify, TALENTIFY.com. Loved that. It was a great site that had very reliable jobs. And they also at Talentify, thank you, Mez. They always messaged me. And these are things that I think what I did is I went to Indeed and I went to Career Builder. I did some searching and I put my email address in, and all of a sudden these other companies that were amazing. And then something that's free is, and Mez, have you heard about this? It's called Teal,
like the color teal.
IQ or something.com.
Yes, I have. Yeah, it's a personality test, right?
Well, it is actually let's see, Teal. It helps you create a good resume. It helps you with your job search. It sets goals for you. I think there's training you can do. I'm trying to find the actual, I know if you go in, I think it's Teal IQ or Teal HQ.
Okay.
And it's awesome. There's all of these tips on interviewing, all these tips on resumes. And I've had people mention on LinkedIn and numerous social media sites. I think it's Teal HQ.
Okay. I'll look that up, but I think we have Mike. We have Mike back here. Yeah. So I know we only have a few more minutes for him to do his spiel. Yes. We do apologize for the technical difficulties, everybody, but Mike is going to hang out for the entire show. And when we talk to Phil, he can chime in as well. But Mike, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me okay? Woo! How about that? Yay, I tell you, if there's a way to mess up technology, I will find it.
Me
Imagine
too.
No worries.
A reverse background and no sound. Leave it to Mike.
Yes. If there's something going to go wrong, Mez, I need to be a beta tester, me and you, Mike. Like, we need to get together and like offer services to tech companies. Because everything happens with me. Everything. But to refresh everybody's memory, I know we're running out of time right now, but Mike is a huge asset to this community and this network, and he is here to help you with the practical side, if you will. Mike, is that fair enough to say?
Yeah, that's right.
And with life, and unfortunately, life doesn't stop when we get laid off. We wish it did, but we still have to have insurance. We still have to have medical coverages. And it changes, like tax law. It changes every single year, all year long. So, Mike, what can you tell us about what's going on in the health insurance industry right now?
Yeah, first of all, this is my mission, if you will. I'm a subject matter expert, but it's not about trying to push anything. It's finding the best option from among all the many options that are currently available. And I can guarantee you that there are some options that you may not have considered. When you're in transition, if you're under age 65, there's different options than if you're over 65. If you're under 65, you may be eligible. Well, you are eligible for coverage at a cost that covers any and all pre-existing conditions.
Wow.
That can cover everything from Medicaid for children and pregnant mothers, all the way to plans through the Affordable Care Act that cover any and all pre-existing conditions. COBRA options, those all cover, a multitude of things with differences and choices of which doctors you can see, how much you pay, how much risk you take on, what medicines are covered. And I help people every day with this. But my philosophy is nothing is good except by comparison. If COBRA is the best option for, let's say you have a child that has a significant pre-existing condition, and you have to see a doctor that is in a specialty that is very important to you. Well, you don't all have to be on the same plan. You can mix and match, and that's one thing that I believe in preaching, is that you have to look at all the different options, and that's what I've been doing. This is my 20th year in this business, and
That's
I'm
awesome.
blessed. Yeah, I'm blessed because I've learned.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say, like, it's awesome that, because as a long-term person of corporate America,
Mm-hmm.
you get a certain package, and that's the only insurance that we've ever been exposed to. They don't teach this stuff in school. I didn't know you can mix and match plans. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, like, you don't know what you don't know. And that's what I can help people with. And I'm licensed in 15 of the 25 states that are in healthcare.gov. And, I'm now in the middle of certifying for both plans through the Affordable Care Act as well as Medicare, which I specialize in all these states. And, it keeps me busy and it keeps me active, and it gives me a reason to get up in the morning. And I'm blessed to have a lot of people that I've been able to help. There's nothing much more important than your health when you're talking about, and you don't realize that maybe until you're when you're in transition. I was in transition 20 years ago and decided to get in this field, and I never looked back. And
Awesome.
I've been in your shoes, so it's good. Now, also, how much you pay and when you can enroll and also how much risk you take. Medical expense risk is often a function of two things: your household size, in addition to your age, but your household size and the number of people on your tax return for 2023. So there's a lot of different options. I also help people with, and I'll talk for a minute about Medicare, but I'm limited to what I can say publicly in this kind of environment on Medicare. But I represent over 25 different Medicare companies, Christian Healthcare Sharing Ministries programs, international medical insurance for people that travel, whether on a cruise or permanent. I have a number of clients, permanent clients, who have relocated to Mexico and other countries. And also, I want to talk for a second about our U.S. healthcare system. And that is one of the things, and this is, I'm sorry, this sounds like a soap opera.
No, go for it. No, we're here to suck your brain out.
From a soapbox. But, I'm a baby boomer, okay? You can probably tell by the gray hair.
You're gorgeous.
40% of all doctors and a greater percentage of all nurses are going to be retiring in this country in the next 5 years. Now, think of what happens. It's not just a matter of having good insurance. It's a matter of, can you get in to access a doctor? And if you do not have a physician who you have a relationship with, I encourage you to develop one now, whether you need to see him or not, because what's happening, and it's happening all across the country, and even in a place with like Dallas, Fort Worth, that has some of the best providers in the country, there's a long waiting list to see doctors. And you may start out by seeing an RN, LPN, or a PA before you actually see a doctor. And that's just the way it is. We should have decided as a country to build medical schools 30 or 40 years ago, because this demographic, the baby boomer bulge, this isn't news, but it's going to have a significant change and impact on the type of healthcare that we get in the future. It has nothing to do with insurance. Well, it does in a way, because insurance companies will limit your access to doctors, and you'll find many more clinics, integrated clinics that will, and even some of the major health systems in town will limit your access to the specialists. And it's tough being a specialist, because their morning, noon, and night is it's like a UPS driver. It really is. They're on the clock. How much time they can spend with a patient is very regulated. And it's
sad, but you're right, because between the insurance companies basically taking over the industry and the new regulations and everything else that is thrown at the American public, the retirement and the hoops that the medical student, even if you wanted to become a doctor, the hoops that they have to jump through. I have my best friend, we're geeks. My best friend is an anesthesiologist. Her best friend's an anesthesiologist. My other best friend is an engineer. I'm an engineer. So we're one, crazy. Two, they told me all the things that they have to go through just to get through medical school, let alone the internships, the apprenticeships. So the system needs to change, but what can we do, Mike, to forge, like to get ahead of the curve? Like what can we do to make sure that we're not spending an arm and a leg on insurance when we don't need to, and we can't during a transition? Oh, I hear music.
Hey everybody, we hear the radio.
Yeah,
so we're gonna
we'll talk to you after the break. Yep.
We'll
don't go away,
and look forward to speaking to you after the break.
Yep, don't go away, everybody.
Hey, travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
855-325-1820. 855-325-1820. That's 855-325-1820.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
Joco Community Radio. Listen live at tunein.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us. We are talking to Mr. Mike Chapman and Mr. Phillip Young. Want to remind everybody this program and more can be found on Joco Community Radio Station. It is available on Android and iOS devices for free. Just go to your app store and download it. Also want to reach out to the Patriot Claims, which is also a wonderful sponsor of this program. Please reach out to the sales rep. You can get the number. It is 844-839-4245. So let's get back to it, shall we, everybody? We have a great second half of the show for you with Mr. Phillip Young. Mr. Phillip Young is looking for don't want to get the senior financial analyst with a CPA. He has a CPA. And Mike, we're here to help you. How can we help you? What target companies do you have? And tell us a little bit about your story.
Hi, first, Meg Rose and Dana, thank you so much for letting me join your show. It's a privilege. And tell Foster I'm lucked out because I got both of you. I hope he's listening.
Oh, he was here before, so he definitely knows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he let us know he'd be listening today, Phil.
Yeah.
Okay. And I want to thank my audience for sharing their valuable time. Hopefully I can share some information that will be helpful to you, as well as telling you a little bit about myself.
Yeah. And Phil, if I might real quick, if you could share a little bit of kind of like your elevator pitch, your background, what positions you're looking for, and the valuable skills that set you apart from other candidates.
Okay, so the position. So we'll talk non-finance for my friends here outside of finance. My job is to facilitate senior management's ability to stay within their budget and create a reasonable budget during the year. And you kind of go, okay, so what? Well, what happens is if we're successful, that improves the bottom line, which also provides more money for raises and bonuses and enables the company to retain more positions going forward. So that's kind of bottom line. To my accounting and finance friends out there, I'm a strategic and detailed financial analyst. I can pull my own data, do my own analysis, and I can prepare executive presentations for senior management, either inside the company or outside the company. I'm very adaptable. One of my strengths is being very adaptable, having gone through downsizings and reorgs. I'm used to shifting very quickly. Another thing that I'm good at is I'm considered very reliable, and I try to mediate situations. So there'll be situations where my senior vice president that I'm supporting wants to spend money and my CFO doesn't. And I put in extra effort. It's like a passion for me to go out there, mediate it, try to get all the answers, try to spend extra time that they don't have, and not only coming up with solutions, but teaching like my SVP that I'm supporting how to talk a little accounting just so the CFO understands it.
Okay, can I just cut you off right there?
Sure.
You just described the perfect scenario of dating and marriage, because you are the marriage glue in a company. You're not one thing or the other, but the number one, I hate to say it, is our top reasons people get divorced is finance and children. So you handle the children, you herd the cats, and you're able to communicate with all different levels, and you talk figures. You don't sugarcoat nothing, and it is the truth. I mean, this is a dating game, people. If you can't date, nobody's going to hire you. People hire people.
Yeah, I mean, it is a numbers game. It's important to put yourself out there. So, Phil, what industries are you open to, and what job titles are you looking for?
Yeah. So first, please feel free to interrupt me at any time. I mean, that's part of what I do is that they'll cut me off and redirect me. So it doesn't bother me at all. I've done sales stuff. I'm used to it. Let me see. So what industries? I have the most experience recently in healthcare. And I like healthcare because it feels like I'm going in and helping people get better. There seems to be a good end to that. And I have experience in several other industries, such as data marketing and the electric industry. But I feel like my skills are pretty adaptable across multiple industries because.
So what do you want to do? Because you are very talented. So what do you want to do?
Oh, so I want the I want like the standard senior financial analyst role is what recruiters call it. So it's like helping out with budgets, helping management develop reasonable budgets, helping them monitor their spending each month, and then helping them create reliable forecasts so senior management can determine if they're going to make money or not, or where they need to start cutting back. And there's a whole lot of stuff that goes with it, but I won't go through all that.
No,
what
but
would you say are some of your core querying? You mentioned that you like to pull data. You're able to pull your own data, and that's critical. And then tell us data, which is it's one of the top skills that organizations are looking for. What querying language do you have, or how do you tend to work with your data?
Well, I tend to work with the data based upon what the company has, and there's various ways I can pull it. I know how to write SQL code and pull information.
Good. Oh, wow.
I know how to.
Look at you.
I used to be
programming, language, everything. Show off.
Yeah. So one thing is, if I get into an environment where I can use it a lot, I look forward to improving it. I used to be a SAS programmer a while back, and I'm pretty rusty on that. But there's there's Power Pivots, there's various software. Cognos has one called Impromptu that was really powerful back when we used it, and a good tool to use. And so what I tell people is I'm used to using all the tools, and I've never gone into a company where I knew their software. So So
you had to start, yeah.
So you're able to troubleshoot, and you're really technically savvy. It sounds like you can jump in, figure out the software, query the language, query the data, and then present it, I'm assuming.
Yes, very well stated. And so what's unique in my background is that I have 7 years of sales support where I'm going in and presenting the financial model. And what happens in my world, everybody thinks their own senior executives are tough to present to. Try going and presenting to executives at a client where you're trying to sell something.
That's big.
I can't say.
What tools are you using for that? Because there's a lot of top tools that companies are asking for in terms of knowing how to share the data and tell a story.
Right. And so I've had a lot of training on how to summarize it at the executive level. So I'm used to doing anything from medical reimbursements to Medicare to sales, and then, like I said, the sales support thing. And then I have a wide variety of clients that I've supported internally at companies, anything from sales to IT to marketing, admin functions. And what that does is, one, it's like, obviously I know how to support them, but then it's easier for me to go to somebody else that I hadn't supported because I know the drill, I know the routine, I know how to talk to them. Yeah. I mean, I can figure out what their accounting knowledge, and I'm really good at not using accounting terms with them.
Well, that's good, because speaking, you hit a really important point there, because speaking their level is going to be important. What tools are you presenting, like the graphs and the data and whatnot? Because I see a lot of different tools that job descriptions are requesting, and I think that'd be great to highlight for our listeners.
So the final tool is like an executive summary in PowerPoint, is what it ends up being. And so the data can come just from Excel or one of the software tools that you can pull the data, but the final thing comes in Excel. And what's real important is that I had a boss from Accenture who taught me this, is everything has to be, he called it succinct and pithy. In other words, you've got to be short and go directly to the point, because your SVPs don't have a lot of time.
2 minute rule. Any presentation, it's called the 2-minute rule. Any
Oh.
presentation that you have, 2 minutes attention span. That's it.
Right.
Sorry, throwing out there. Fun fact of the day.
You're good. You can interrupt anytime you want to.
So Phil, do you have any target companies right now? Like, are you mobile? Like, tell us about you. We want to know you.
Yeah. So right now there's, so healthcare is like a target. I don't have a specific company because what I'm doing is I'm kind of bouncing back and forth between what's available and what I can do there. I have a call for into Southwest Airlines for a position like mine, and I'm waiting to hear back on them. And then there's Brinks. So see, not everything I'm being presented to is in healthcare. And so what
is impressive.
Basically what I'm looking for is I want to work another 15 years. And if I have the opportunity to do that at one company, that would be great, especially a growing company, because it's fun to see what you do early on and how it plays out. Does it really help? And another thing I can do is I'm really good at helping my manager or director, because being a senior person and working for various people, there might be things that they don't see, or there might be things that somebody says that I know how to present back to them in, like a quiet way in their own office or something like that, and just ask them what they want to do about it. So I figure part of my job is coaching if needed. And then also my job is to facilitate the development of new people. Again, I'm the old guy. I've been around a while. I can do a job and a half at a time.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
efficiency is so important. I think that's amazing.
Yeah,
and you love it.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Phil. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. And so I come from a family of teachers, so teaching comes natural. And I learned a little trick at one company. We had a position turnover twice, and I was helping to train both people. And so the second time it became open, I asked my boss if I could have that job. Even though I didn't know the particulars about it, I knew I could pick up quicker than a new person.
Well, yeah.
And then I can sit there and train people because I have all these written instructions, documentation, things like that make it easier for somebody new to come in. And I'm also used to working under pressure. So like when they're trying to meet deadline and I'm trying to meet deadline, I know how to talk to them and get them through.
Right.
And as well as myself.
How do you shoulder that pressure in the work environment? How do you, because it sounds like you're very good at that. You've learned through the years how to professionally shoulder the pressure. I think some of those skills could help some of our listeners. Would you mind sharing a little bit about how you, from a maturity and a professionalism standpoint, shoulder that pressure that might look a little different than maybe someone new coming into the professional world?
Yeah, so actually I hadn't thought about that. It seems, so I'm the guy who ends up getting more work than the rest of my teammates. And then I'm the guy who, when I move on to another position, they have to divide up my work because management's put so much on me. I hadn't really thought about how I cope with it. I think what happens is that's been going on so long in my career, it's sort of second nature. But what I do is I learn to prioritize. When the pressure really gets on, I learn to prioritize. I learn to talk to my manager or director, and it's like, okay, here's what's going on, especially in situations where I'm working in the middle of closing and I have tight deadlines. And then they go, oh, by the way, here's this legal issue with your client on spending. Yeah. And you have to work that in. Yeah. And so you go through and you say, hey, like, can we push back on one or the other? And they usually say no. And then it's like, you ask on the special project, no. And then they just tell you, like, you have to figure it out. So.
Oh, I love that line. You have to figure it out. Oh, no.
Yeah,
thank you for your support. Love you. Bye.
Yeah. I'm really good at that. I mean, I've heard that so often. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
I'm really glad you shared that, Phil, because I think for a lot of newer entrants into the workforce, kind of for me, even back in the day, transition from the setting, the learning and the studying, and then you go to apply things in the workforce. one of the key skills is learning how to navigate corporate America. And I think you bring a value to employers with your ability to shoulder that stress and not allow it to affect you or your work. Every environment's going to have stress. I mean, Mez, I'm sure you experience different levels of stress on a regular basis.
I've got my ass handed to me when I thought I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed right out of college. I'm like, I got this. You don't know nothing. Oh,
Yeah.
I had it bow-tied and handed back to me. It's like, no, sit down, be quiet.
Yeah.
Very humbling experience.
Okay.
I think we all have a Mez, and I'm glad you shared that.
Yeah.
You know, your transparency is beautiful, and I have too. You know, I came into corporate America thinking, oh, all right, I got my first job, blah, blah, blah. And even through the years, even 10 years into my experience,
Right.
I had to learn to seek to understand. That was one of the best
Very well
comments
said.
or
Very well said.
tips. Seek to understand, listen more than you speak. And Phil, I like that you do that. I like that you listen and then you're able to take that on. My goal is to show your value, and Mez's goal is to show your value to all these potential employers that are listening, to find someone who is even keeled, can handle pressure, love to train, and can take on work
And can handle
more than
us.
the average person.
I can handle me and Dana. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
mean, you're building
personalities.
value.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like Dana, he can talk to us, talk to Mike, and then go to a programmer and a CFO with the introvert personality and get stuff done. Like, how much more value people do you need to have in one man?
So when you in the accounting and finance world, I've worked in accounting and audit and finance, and then I've worked in sales support. So it's like I can go to multiple finance people don't know how to talk to accounting, and they don't know what their schedule is.
That's true.
And I'm going over there,
Sorry.
and it's like, so I'm talking all the gap, all the rules and things like that. I have knowledge of it, and then because I have the knowledge of it, I pick up on stuff quickly, and I can also educate my finance people on how to talk to accounting. So like if they're closing the books, if today's the last day, the 4th, it's like, do not go over there and talk to them. I don't care what's going on unless you're dying.
You are shut down. You are grounded. Go stay in your cage.
You can
stay in your cage.
Yeah, right.
No emails, no nothing.
Because that drives, so when I was in accounting, that drives us crazy.
Yeah.
And then I let accounting know that I'm doing that. So then I build up a little goodwill there. And like you say, auditors and programmers, I can talk to them. Actually, with programmers, I'm as much going over and going like, okay, I'm trying to do this in SQL. Like, here's what I think works, but it's not working. Can you show me what's going on? So there's a back and forth there with them too, as there is with accounting, because they're teaching me all the new accounting rules as I go along.
Oh my God.
Awesome.
How long, just out of curiosity, how long have you been in the job search for?
Let me see. 6 months.
Oh my goodness.
I think, Philip, it's good you're on the show. Thank you for asking.
Thank you. Right. It's a very important.
Show.
Yeah, no, it's very important to be very transparent, because I was out of the job search for 7 months. Like Dana said earlier, it is the longest time. Is this your first rodeo? Have you been laid off before?
Yeah, so that's one of the challenges in my job history is that I've left companies like within a year or two because they were going to downsize my job.
So you saw the writing in the
relocated out of state.
Yeah.
So my resume looks like I'm a hopper, and it's like, no. And then each one of those positions, I wouldn't be here now if they had stayed, if they kept going, because the oldest was 10 years ago. So working at a place for 10 years is, like no big deal. I'm not like looking to jump or anything like that. I would have liked to stay there. And I was able to carve out niches where I was like pretty valuable at each place. So when they move, it's like,
Thank you for your transparency. I didn't.
Well, are you showing that? No, Wes, I'm glad you asked that. It was a great question. You are awesome. Do you show the value on your resume? Are you have a couple bullet points under each role, regardless of length, where you brought value and you're showing that? Because that's going to be important. It will also be important to have a lot of references from those locations
Okay.
On LinkedIn. Yes, because, and this is good for the audience to hear,
Right.
and Mez, I'm sure can agree with this, is that if people are worried as a recruiter, if I'm worried about you being a job hopper, okay, I'll explain why recruiters are worried about job hoppers. Are there issues with them? Are they able to assimilate into the culture? Are they able to work well with others? Are we going to have to worry about them leaving and jumping ship, either because they are just quickly jumping for a better job and don't give us enough time to develop you? Or, what is the situation?
Right.
Or do you just have personality issues? That's kind of what we worry about when we see job hopping, one spectrum or the other.
Right.
And if I go to your LinkedIn and those companies that you've been at, you have people giving you references at all those companies, or what is it called? Writing you a recommendation on LinkedIn.
Right.
Then that takes away my worry. Oh, well, people loved him. It was probably just a situation. And I think now more than ever, because the market's so saturated and we are hearing every day about companies laying people off, they're going to be a little more chill about shorter term. And 1 to 2 years is not as bad as a couple months here or a couple months there. So don't get that in your head too much, but get references or recommendations.
Dana, I think you can agree with this too. Because of the pandemic, I think companies have a lot more grace with gaps in your resume. We talked about this actually, Frisco Connect at the beginning of the month first. Like, this was a hot topic. It is a hot topic. Like, they have grace now because of the pandemics. Like, you know what? I got laid off here. This company downsized. I mean, it's called a pandemic for a reason. It's not a nice, warm, fuzzy term. So recruiters and companies are realizing, and slowly, unfortunately, Dana, slowly coming through to the other side to recognize, you know what, we need to have a little bit more leniency. Our old rules do not apply to XYZ situation and vice versa.
So true.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're the expert in that. Yeah. But Phil, I have no worries about you. Are you mobile? Just out of curiosity? I know you're in the DFW area. You're not mobile?
I'd like to stay here in DFW if I could. And back to your earlier point, what I've started doing is I've created a separate resume that I send to like recruiters, especially outside, where I specifically address those 4 positions and say like, okay, here's what happened. I started there. And then like 1 month later, they said they were moving to Minnesota. And then another one was like, I was there 3 months and I found out that several positions on my team were going to be downsized and I would be number 1 just based on the job role, so I've tried to address that, and I've had some good feedback from recruiters and then not feedback from others. So directionally I might be going better, but I really don't know how to solve that problem.
I have some ideas.
Go ahead, Dana.
Nope, sorry. I was just going to say I have some ideas, Phil, that might help you. I sent you in our private link my email address. Send your resume to me, and I'll set some time up with you next week just to hop on a quick call. But Mez, what were you going to say?
I was just saying that the fact that you're even ahead of the game for most job seekers, that you are addressing the potential questions coming up for recruiters. That is, you have to be ahead of the game. Like, okay, think about if you were interviewing yourself kind of thing. All right, what would I ask? What gaps are there? What do I want to say that's PR friendly? I mean, because unfortunately we have to go back and forth between personal. It's a very fine dance. Dating's a fine dance. So depending on the type of people, and this is where informational interviews, job seekers, come into play. Huge. You have to know the culture of the company that you are wanting to be a part of. If they can't laugh, I'm sorry. If you're not laughing, you're not learning. So if they can handle my craziness, spot for me. If they are like choked up and going, oh my God, what the heck? What were you thinking?
Right.
No, it's not gonna work, right? Because I'm not gonna change depending on who I'm around. I'm just not. And Phil, you're the type of personality, like, you're not gonna change for anybody. You stick to your values, your integrities, and trying to get the job done. So the fact that you're 1 step ahead, and Dana is an amazing resource with resumes. She's ripped me apart many times. So it's a good healthy.
No, don't say that.
You love me and you know it.
Yes, I know, but whoa.
It's a nice tough love because I'm
Yes,
like,
it
oh,
is.
I'm brilliant on paper, and no, I'm sometimes like, no, honey, this is not. So
Well,
it's
we
nice
all
to
bring
get
our
the
different,
outside.
unique skills, right, Mez? I
Right.
mean, we
Right.
do.
We
Real quick,
do.
I'm not trying to interrupt. I just want to thank
Go ahead.
Veronica Tatum,
Yes.
Jeff Nagel, Sharon Lukich Adams, and Esmeralda Gerard. Oh,
Mhm.
Stephanie Austin for jumping on and contributing to our feed
Absolutely.
and bringing in good vibes. Mez and I are thankful y'all are here. I believe my friend Janet Young is listening, and
Yes.
I always ask my mom for motherly support. Diane Gingerich should be listening as well. And Phil Gingerich.
Hi, Mama.
And that's just great. Yeah. And what Mez is sharing, Mez has just done a phenomenal job sharing about, she's had some very poignant questions and sharing transparent experience. It's all about being your real self. And Phil, I think one thing I think that employers are going to love about you is that you come across well, you're very kind, and you're genuine, but you're knowledgeable and confident in your knowledge. And I think Mez pointed that out as well.
Oh, thank you. That's
Oh,
really
we
nice.
hear the music, but I could talk to you guys forever. Mike, we will talk to get you back on the show soon. Everyone have a blessed weekend. Have a wonderful time. Love you guys. Bye.
Yes, thank you for coming to the Jobfather. We'll see you next Friday, 11 o'clock
Thank you.
Central. Woo!
Have you ever met a single person in your life that enjoys paying taxes? No.